Oh, wait.
is Pastor Rock.
What
this
a
is
change.
confusing.
Didn't see anything.
Didn't see a damn
Oh
thing.
damn! I forgot to change mine. Oh well, one sec.
Is there a ghost?
Is there a ghost in this recording?
We're back. We're back and back and back and back and back. It's time to talk
Back,
the
back, 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 back,
NFL
back, 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 back.
with our NFL leader, LCs.
What it do, y'all? We're here. Talk some football. Now, at the time of this recording, we have found out some news. So we're going to start a little solemn. The NFL has learned about the passing of NFL Colts owner and CEO Jim Irsay. Passed away today at age 65 years old, which, that is, if you're familiar with anything involving Jim Irsay, it is a little surprising, but not too surprising, considering he was known for partying, and that lifestyle can take its toll. However, according to some reports that I've been reading throughout our recording in the previous three quarters, he passed away peacefully, according to all reports. So there was no outside factors that we're aware of that could have caused this. So it is sad to lose somebody that's been such a, I guess, well-known figure in the NFL community as Jim Irsay. Now, Bethke, you said you were going to have something that you remembered Jim Irsay for saying, or you found a quote of some sort.
Yes. Obviously the internet likes to mourn together. It's a good place to do so.
Absolutely.
And in this case,
That's
it's
what
very
it's for.
Yeah, that's exactly the only thing it's ever done to the world. And so in 2010, back when Twitter was a different place, such different place, Jim Irsay tweeted. Jim Irsay was a tweeter, very much a tweeter, probably the most
there was an app
tweetery.
yet.
Huh? Oh yeah. I've been on.
He
I
was
was
a
on Twitter
mess.
in 08.
Well, I
but
was on it.
unfortunately, my shit got snapped.
But maybe I shouldn't have a smartphone yet because I was still having to text my tweets to a number.
That's impressive. That's dedication. Very much dedication.
Let's love the game right
But
there.
yeah, so at about 8:30 p.m. at night, Jim Irsay, about a week before Christmas, tweets out, "I know it's a sin, but I have a crush on, but I have a crush on Sarah Palin's feet."
That's good.
It's not near as bad as I was thinking it was going to be.
It was
It's
pretty
odd.
funny. It was
It's
pretty
definitely
random. It's a thing.
I was talking to my one friend who's a Colts fan, and his quote is, "He was controversial, but man, did he really care? Not like Jerry."
I guess that's
Say
fair.
what you want about how nuts the man was. He did, up until the last few years, maybe a pretty good job of keeping the Colts pretty relevant.
Yeah, he put money into it.
He definitely put money into it, but he was also very much just kind of. It was a very chaotic way of carrying for your team.
It's
His
interesting
last
when you
tweet
get
was
Peyton
to
Manning and
congratulate the
Andrew Luck.
Pacers and wish them luck. That's interesting.
Absolutely. He's also a guy that was known for having an insane guitar collection.
Yes.
And then something about buying a whale, if I remember. Does anybody remember the
Don't
Jim
know that
Irsay
one.
whale? I swear there's a story
whale?
involving Jim Irsay and a whale. I could be wrong. Maybe it was somebody else.
Jim
Yeah, no,
Irsay,
he spent
whale
$20 million
flight.
to. Yeah, he
Okay.
spent $20 million to fly an orca.
From Miami to Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh
which,
my god!
That's
He
wild.
sent out. Oh, he sent all the fans $100 and a picture of him suited up in the Colts uniform. Yeah, that's hilarious.
No, the guy was funny for sure. He's a real character in the league. So, Colts fans, I'm sure you'll miss him. And
Oh, God.
you can't tell the story of the NFL without the Irsay family,
I was gonna say,
and that involves.
what the succession plan is here?
It
Is
doesn't.
it staying with the family? Does anyone know? I'm sure they're not talking about it right now. Although
Yeah, it's
definitely
too
not.
early for that reaction
Um,
from them.
Who knows? It could stay in the family, or
I'm sure that they've been potentially because there's another funny Jim Irsay tweet I'm almost reluctant to share because it's a little unfortunate. I think it's one that highlights potentially why he was a 65-year-old man who passed away looking like a 90-year-old man. And that's unfortunate too. It's still a pretty funny tweet. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure, man. Might as well.
It'll be in the chat on Discord for you guys to enjoy. I just,
He doesn't want to be recorded as having said those words.
no, it's thankfully not that. It's just I feel like it's also a picture involved. So even if I say it, it doesn't do I need the picture to do it justice anyway. That's where maybe it gets distasteful.
Oh shit! Okay. All right, I just saw it.
It's just a little. It's not. It's. We can wait a moment for that one.
Yeah, it's not a tasteless photo by any means, but it is funny. It just shows that Jim Irsay enjoyed a nice night out.
Oh, Jim Irsay was.
Take that cap off of him. It's really not that bad.
The cap is what really sells it, though. It really sells it.
Because the Affliction pants and the tight band T-shirt, whatever.
But it's also like it looks like there's like a water stain on the shirt.
Oh no!
Oh, he's definitely in a bathroom.
Yeah, but
Oh, there.
It just doesn't add to the lore.
Or something.
Listen,
it adds to the lore in a negative way, right?
I feel like calling that a water stain is being very polite.
That's what I was. I thought I was being generous as well.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm being generous, right?
Yeah.
There was another stain, but it got replaced with another stain.
Yeah.
Another good thing he did. He was one of the most vocal against Rush Limbaugh buying the Saints or the Saints, the Rams, I believe, at the time.
Oh, nice.
St. Louis, I guess.
When they were still in St. Louis. I think this was before the team had been bought by the people who would officially move it.
Oh, the Kroenke family.
Yeah.
Sam Kroenke or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it on that. I do feel bad, and I do agree with your friend. I think that he probably isn't one of the was he a bit of a problem with these owners that we laugh about? Yeah. Was he as bad as some of them? Definitely not. I think he's somewhere in between Jim Dolan and Jerry Jones,
trying.
Right? Yeah. He's in that.
Believed that he was.
He's in that area. Yeah, I mean that's the biggest sin of Jerry Jones is like his actions and his words are just they fall short, obviously. So he was a man who at least delivered. The Colts may have struck out a few times, gotten unlucky a few times, but he tried. He did try to spin. He did try to compete.
Absolutely.
In a notoriously smaller and smaller market every year.
Yeah. And then, weirdly enough, apparently, according to the Colts website, he was the youngest GM in NFL history at 24 years old.
Well, again,
the
owners make decisions and they make history, and times those are good, sometimes those are bad. The good news is Jim Irsay got that shit together enough to win a Super Bowl, and that I think one Super Bowl for Indianapolis is a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Ever a GM?
Jim Irsay? Yeah. What just said?
I mean,
when he was 24 years old.
We know that you can just do that. We unfortunately know better than any other city.
Was he good? Did he actually do all the responsibilities? That remains to be seen, but he had the title.
Yeah, how long did he end up having the title?
That I did not see. It just said he was the youngest one in.
So he was. That's interesting. So before he was the owner, the official owner of the team, he was the general
his dad
manager.
is the owner.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is Steven.
Ooh, we do have a local tie here, though. He did graduate from SMU.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that he was a SMU.
Checks out.
Yeah, I mean, there's some SMU qualities.
Yeah, just a few. All right. Well, with that said, we'll move on and we'll talk about some things also related to owners. The owners' meetings. As you can see this right here. Champions. The champions get to keep their tush push, baby. Go fuck yourself, Green Bay. You take these and you shove it. All right. In a 22-10 vote, the tush push ban
needed
failed.
24, by the way.
They needed 24 votes.
If you need the math.
So it got 22 yeses?
Yes.
They got 22 yeses to banned, but it needed 24 in total to move forward. So, Freedom and Weep, Green Bay. We push on.
Eagles, Ravens, Browns, Lions, Jags, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Jets, Titans all voted no.
They
Or
all
abstained? I
voted
wasn't
to.
sure.
Yeah,
was it no and abstention? Because I think abstance with the
No, because that would mean because there's 32 teams, so they all.
yeah, but
and
I,
these
just
were all-
didn't-
and I
didn't
think
know how
this
they
is
voted-
all-
counted those votes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is all.
But
It was just a
essentially,
yes or
those
no.
were the 10 teams standing in the way of it being passed, and more or less, only 2 of them needed to flip. But still,
Yeah, and listen, I'm not. It pains me to see some of these teams that I have such disdain for voting on the right side of history. But you know what? Fuck it. You are on the right side of history. May good karma come your way, and may all 22 teams who voted against this be remembered as being soft, toilet paper soft bitches. Now,
I've honestly wondered what different arguments. I wonder how many of these people legitimately feel like it's a medical argument.
Now, here's the thing. There's never been a notable actual injury caused because of this play. The closest thing that we have seen to anybody leaving the field after a tush-push play was in the Super Bowl. Chris Jones lined up in a weird angle, got his neck cranked up because, you're not supposed to line up that way. And then you see on the sidelines views of like the training staff touching his neck and him wincing in pain. Yeah, he didn't miss the rest of the game. So, for anybody who says
I also
that
think it's worth noting there's only 2 other NFC teams outside of Philadelphia.
So I'm glad you brought that up because I do want to bring something up because you said that. So look over the schedule and I sifted through some Eagles Twitter, Eagles Twitter. So the Eagles 2025 opponents voted 13-1. They play 13 of these teams that voted.
Makes sense.
So who was the one voted? Who was the bold team?
I want to say it's
someone who doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, actually, it might be the Lions. Yeah, it's the Lions.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, the Lions.
We will not.
Yeah, Dan Campbell's not soft, right? Right. The other
swallow him whole as he tries to push.
right now. Look at this. The other remaining 17 teams voted 9-8. It's really fucking weird that all these teams that are playing the Eagles decided, well, let's just get rid of this one play that we do not have the facilities to stop.
That makes the most sense of anything in this story.
They were just playing a game too, Caesar.
It makes sense in the sense that they are. It makes sense in the sense that they are scared. But don't be so. No, they're scared.
If you have a chance
it's
to
fear.
Take out an advantage anyone else.
It is a fear. It's an advantage anybody can have because all you need.
You need to have James.
Is 1 yard. All you need is 1 yard. You push the quarterback into your offensive line. The problem is these teams don't have good offensive lines. Not a single one of these 14 teams.
Well, I think you
have
also
a respectable line.
drastically overvaluing how many quarterbacks would sign up to do it.
Well, hey, how badly do you want to win? That's what I'm going to ask.
I agree, but I don't think there's actually
also,
that many. I don't think Josh Allen would do that.
I also don't think it's
well. Josh Allen did. So I don't know. So just to address that point, the Bills were the team that ran the tush push the second most in the league. So Josh Allen clearly didn't have that big of a problem. But weirdly enough, the Bills voted to ban it, but because they were also bad at it. They were not that good at the tush push in the playoffs, especially.
He's not trying to get stingers like Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is just, a little bit stockier. And so, it's more impacts kind of spread out, I want to say. I don't want to say stocky. That's not right. He's just
a pretty stout dude.
He's stout, yeah. He's just, but he's short, stout, muscular, thick. That's a good one.
Josh Allen's just
really big.
He's more of a basketball player than a football player in build.
Yeah, like he's a heavy guy, but it's all spread out in that regard. But listen,
really more.
I'm just praying on the downfall of all the teams that voted to ban this play because all you need to do is not let them get to 3rd and 1. That is it. Don't let them get the 4th and 1. Just play better defense. Get better offensive line play, and then you too can have this quote-unquote unstoppable play in your playbook. NFL, you're soft.
I think the only real issue with it is that there's rules written where the defense can't do the exact same thing on the other side of the line.
Let them do it
So
then.
that would be my only argument for just even it out either way.
Instead of trying to ban a play, you should just go ahead and put in allow some flexibility so that the defense can have a counter. Because it's not
like the offense, and it always will be and always has been over the last 30 years, just gets so much advantage in the rules over the defense.
I would say my only argument to it, I think now that they've acquired and now they have Saquon Barkley, or say QAnon Barkley, as we should call him.
That's a good one.
I think beautiful Dallas Stars goal. We're icing the game away. I think personally we should penalize the Eagles for aesthetic purposes. Because how boring the tush push is compared to how much cooler it would be to see Saquon do some Herschel Walker shit at the goal line.
Wait, what do you mean some Herschel Walker shit? Is that
no, Herschel used to no. That one's just about flying. I mean, maybe there's similar ties, but I'm saying Herschel used to be able to fly over a line, or wasn't afraid to take a safety straight to the dome to get a touchdown for the team. I'm trying to see QAnon do this, and I frankly think that we as football fans deserve to watch a more enjoyable product. This is like a basketball player having a wide open dunk and choosing to just give it a little lay-in. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about Steve Nash. I'm talking LeBron giving us a lay-in.
Some people lose their step.
What's the NFL equivalent of the Ben Simmons?
the Carson Wentz.
The Carson Wentz. That's not an inaccurate comparison.
I was wondering if it's like Deshaun Jackson dropping the ball.
I mean, shit. Just catch a charge and it'll fuck up your career. Apparently, the mental, some depending on charges. Charges may vary.
Word.
Maybe it'll be better.
Yeah. Now,
football players.
Some more things that came out of this meeting. I laughed when I read this because I was like, bro, there is just no fucking way this came out of somebody's mouth. So Jeffrey Lurie spoke for about an hour, right? And according to an ESPN report, here toward the end of his speech that lasted about an hour, Jeffrey Lurie, Eagles owner, made an analogy to the room, regardless if the play was banned or not. All right, and I was like, man, I'm surprised that this speech didn't net you 32 yeses on the fucking thing. But he's like, all right, whether the play was banned, it was a quote unquote win-win for the Eagles, adding that it was quote like a wet dream for a teenage boy, unquote, to create a play that was so successful that the only way for it to be stopped was for it to be banned. Interesting analogy there. And he was chastised by Troy Vincent, former Philadelphia Eagle, for the wet dream comment, specifically for saying it in front of women who were in attendance of said meeting. NFL owners, man, they are a funny bunch.
That is funny because Jeffrey Lurie's this guy who's painted a pretty good image for himself otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, hey, everybody has a moment where you're like, you shouldn't have said that shit.
That's true. That's just an incredibly. That's
on the softer side of things
brand.
You shouldn't say.
Yeah, no, I mean
it is.
It's not like getting caught talking about how you got all the measurables for the players. You know what I mean?
Or with the old, was it the current Suns ownership talking about the boat party stuff?
The Suns ownership? No, boat party was New York Giants, right? Or Minnesota. What was the Vikings boat party?
They did have a sex boat party, but I think the Suns owner was like giving a speech. I don't know if it's at someone's funeral or at someone's retirement, where he's like, "Yeah, I tried to bring my kids on the boat, and there's just 3 ways happening." And
I don't know if that was Sarver.
I'll find it for you. I think it's part of the new group, but
Ishiba?
I don't think it's Ishiba. It's like someone under the umbrella.
Maybe.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, with Phoenix, you had the the Sarver. Yeah, Sarver
It
made
is
a,
Sarver.
a really wild remark about race there. But yeah, I guess if Robert Sarver was also having yacht party sex clubs, that would also probably track.
Never mind. Well, I'll send this to you in private.
Fair enough.
All right. All right. Well, yeah. Outside of that, there's really nothing else to talk about the owners' meetings that really stood out. That was the biggest thing on the agenda was tush push. I don't anticipate that this play will continue to be safe. I assume that should the Eagles go on a successful tear through the regular season, there's going to be more and more talk about this play, and we'll see. If they have a bad season, it'll be a moot point. So yeah. Other than that,
still interested to see if someone else doesn't replicate it this season.
yeah, I mean, they'll have a full off season to try to incorporate it. I mean, there's plenty of teams that can.
I've got 9 suspects.
Looking at some of those quarterbacks, I'm like, I don't know.
Saints may not have an option, brother. Saints might be taking this thing all the way back to Rugby.
Wishbones.
Right? They're like, hey, what's his name? Tyler.
Yeah,
Tyler
exactly.
Shuck. Tyler Shuck.
Whichever one. Bring him
Whatever.
in.
Yeah. There's like, hey, you think you could crush yourself for a 1-yard play? Yeah.
They sign Aaron Rodgers, and they just exclusively run the tush push all year.
That Achilles brother will not hold up. That thing will tear again.
Need more
He's never been asked to run.
You can't even push. They're like, just fall and we'll push you through.
They have to have a running back come up behind him and like lift him up on his shoulders to take him through.
You know what they could also do is just if you're fearing for QB safety, just have one of your running backs just learn how to do it. Get your most muscular guy.
Do we think there's ever a version of the tush push where someone takes like a Deuce Vaughn level like sized player, right?
Mm-hmm.
And has them run like a run the pre-snap action where they just go from one side to the other, and just in that moment the quarterback turns around and not only hands the ball to the player but also yucks him over the lineman try to get said yard.
That is definitely not allowed in the rule book to be able to lift your teammate up.
But is there a way for like the ball, if it's simultaneous with him handing the ball off, is there a way to yuck him up there and just
I think there's only like 2 quarterbacks strong enough to pull that off. And
well, we can start training guys. I'm just curious if it's possible.
I think you could try that with Anthony Richardson. He seems like he's big and jacked to be able to do that. Try to rewind time and get prime Cam Newton. He could lift somebody up that fucking shit.
All right. Now we know we need to get to the drawing board on.
You just put Jerome Bettis in at quarterback, and
yeah, no, tush push existed back then. Yeah, I'm definitely just running. I'm running Bettis all the time.
100%.
Henry Melton.
Yeah. Give me Christian Okoye, Brandon Jacobs. Get you some big fellas. But anyway, let's move on.
We gotta get through. Oh, we actually don't have.
We got one last thing here on the agenda, if I'm not mistaken.
We got a pretty good deal to talk about.
A pretty good deal for a pretty average quarterback.
Fight at the final whistle.
Yeah. So, you've probably already seen this, but Brock Purdy is a $53 million man per year.
Yeah, 265 over 5. No trade clause.
A no trade clause. This is real commitment to Brock Purdy from the San Francisco 49ers. And let's be real, this is the dream quarterback for Kyle Shanahan. Just a guy who'll point and shoot. You tell him what to do, and he'll do it. And does have the ability to sometimes push the ball further down the field as opposed to, say, a Jimmy G. And listen, for all of the critiques that I have about Brock Purdy and what kind of quarterback he is great for that team. So if you have a quarterback that fits your team well, don't let him go. Keep him And here's the thing: we see that year is, or that annual value is $53 million a year, if I'm not mistaken. However, it's actually closer to about $47 million a year because they ripped up the new contract. The new contract. They ripped up Purdy's old contract, his rookie deal, and so that new money is starting now, and effectively will be less money over time, as it's as it presents itself. It looks more than it actually is.
So that's how they were able to get comfortable with it.
Yes, absolutely. Because now, instead of looking like you're paying Brock Purdy to be, I believe it would have made him the 7th highest paid quarterback in the league. Now you're looking more closer to about the 13th highest quarterback in the league. And that's about where I believe he is as a quarterback, somewhere in the average.
Fair value.
Yeah, and that's a pretty fair value, absolutely. So that said, they have paid a lot of money to a lot of guys. They just gave one of their defensive players a contract.
Fred Warner also,
yeah. Fred Warner just got an extension.
Which is that one is good. You do that.
You do that. He's earned it. He is definitely,
and you do it before camp.
100%. He's definitely a top 5 player on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe even in the league. Who knows? But yeah, that said, the San Francisco 49ers are going to need a lot of production from these top stars on their team, because they have lost a lot of depth over the years, and they've missed out a lot in the draft on players. They haven't always been able to hit on free agency. They already are starting to lose some players on offense, so you're really going to need Brock Purdy to live up to that deal, if not exceed that deal. But yeah, another quarterback gets paid. The market is now shaping up where if you want a starting quarterback in this league, it's going to cost you about $50 million or more.
He didn't really top it out, though, right? Like, isn't Dak still the highest paid?
Yeah, no, he didn't top it out at all. And I believe
I don't think he should have, obviously, but
yeah. Well, I mean, every new quarterback contract is,
it can always be that. Yeah,
I think the only crazy thing for this one is the no trade clause, right?
That is a little bit
weird.
That is a bit weird. But honestly, I don't see like that many teams would want to even trade for him.
Yeah, I could see where it's maybe giving him a little extra.
Where they wanted to trade him, someone else probably doesn't want.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, nothing shows that you want your guy there, at least in theory, more than, hey, we can't trade you. We're not going to trade you. We're stuck with you. You're stuck with us. We want you to know that we are committed.
Yeah. By
not being able to trade you. So hopefully if things go south, you'll waive that no trade clause. Which, who knows? I think the 49ers are on the come down this season. But, that's neither here nor there. But, yeah, gentlemen, I mean, that's all that's been in the news. I mean, we do have time to fit in one little thing. The Bengals keep bungling shit up, okay? They couldn't get Trey Hendrickson to sign. Now they can't get their first-round draft pick. Shamar Moore? Is that
Shamar Stewart?
Shamar Stewart
from
Shamar Stewart.
A&M. Yeah,
they can't get him to sign because of language in his rookie deal. So
he's coming off an injury. I think that was already happened when he was drafted. So that's just hilarious bungling of the franchise with the Bengals there.
Yep, Bengals. You find new ways to fuck up, and it's honestly so impressive.
Hey,
Did y'all see the Matthew Golden reaction test video?
Yeah,
where they do the thing where they drop the deals and you try to catch them without like moving.
Oh yeah.
And he went perfect and didn't see one like slightly off to the side, so he went off to celebrate, and then the last one just drops and hits the ground and kills his 100%.
That's hilarious. I saw he's wearing 22.
Yeah, that's weird. I hate that
for Green Bay. Yeah, that's very.
A receiver wearing 20s is disgusting. Yeah, that's.
We got a buzzer.
Now that you have access to all the numbers from 1 to 19 and then 80,
rules,
80 to 89, like you can't. 22 is weird. It's gross. Hell, you can even get 0.
No,
although wearing 0 is a risk. All right, there is
Rowdy's been wearing it for
Concrete
30 years.
evidence.
The Cowboys ain't won shit.
Listen, if you wear the number 0, you either have to be him or you risk being a loser who has the number 0.
Yeah. It's
It's
high
not-
risk, high reward.
Absolutely. It didn't work out for Bryce Huff in Philadelphia, even though he's still on the fucking team. But yeah, that's all I got for the football segment, y'all. The Dallas Stars have secured victory in what was this, game 1 of the Western Conference
Game
Finals?
one.
6-3 final after being down 3-1 after 2, so 5-goal third. Really, really nice. Tyler
Bless
Seguin
up.
game.
Bless up, Stars. You seized the moment.
Carpe some diem. Carpe some omnia.
Like they say in hockey, let's do that hockey. All right, Patrick, take it home.
All right, you guys. We'll talk again next week with. Oh, it's a desk. With further NBA and NHL playoffs, the NFL closer to the season slightly, and
Whoa.
baseball
Training camp starts
still
soon.
Got like 100 games to go,
Oh,
and I love you both.
Love you. Later, boys.